Welcome to America Armed and Free, a program dedicated to preserving your God-granted, constitutionally guaranteed individual right to keep and bear arms in defense of self or state, understanding that the citizens are the militia. This program is produced by Charles Heller and is not endorsed by anyone who isn't pro-choice on freedom.
We are the guardians of America, armed and free.
And welcome to America Armed and Free, where we have the joy, the pleasure, and the honor of having with us Richard Marcinko. He's went out as a commander. He's retired from the Navy as a full commander after more than 30 years of service. He currently lives in Northern Virginia, where he's CEO of SOS Temps, his private security firm whose clients are governments and corporations, Richard Marcinko, Inc., a motivational training and team-building company, and Red Cell International, which conducts vulnerability assessments of high-value properties and high-risk targets. Welcome to the telephones and microphones of America Armed and Free, Richard Marcinko.
Thanks. Good to be there. It's good to be retired, right, after all that.
Makes you tired just listening to your bio, doesn't it?
Well, you know, they tell me if I didn't do all those things, I'd probably get in trouble. But we know they're probably right.
Oh, you get in trouble? Nah, hardly. Richard, in vengeance, you've once again managed to make some harrowing situations into humorous, quick reads. Do we really have so-called homeland security?
Well, we're just going through our second reorganization. I would say bluntly, yes, we have an organizational structure. Yes, we have a machine that makes policy. No, we do not have a working team. And at the working level where you and I live, ain't nothing, Coach. How's that for the voice of doom?
Yeah, doom on them, right? Is Homeland Security a viable department within its huge bureaucracy? In other words, is there like a nucleus? Well, can I say that word to you? I mean,
yeah, I won't blow up, or I won't glow in the dark either.
Yeah, nuke them till they glow and shoot them in the dark. Yeah. That ought to be your bumper sticker. I had one like that, and it sure got a lot of middle fingers raised at me, but it was kind of cool. Now I got one that says "Give war a chance." It gets me some bad honks too.
Well, you know, war is just another military acronym. Stands for "We Are Ready."
I love it. Boy, that peace activist I had on the hour before you would be glowing when he heard that. But is there like a nugget within, nugget you don't want to say either, is there a nucleus within Homeland Security of good people that will do the right thing to protect the country, or no?
Well, the answer to the question, yeah, there are a lot of good people, Charles. You know, the problem is that organizationally, even now I sit back here and throw stones, but to gobble up all those organizations, throw them in one bag called 180,000 people, and get them to march to one tempo. You know, when they've been in flux for 2 years, and now they're going through another reorganization. But we've thrown a lot of money at it. We've built a lot of command centers. We've written a lot of policy. But when you talk about what is functionally happening, take the aviation industry for an example. There was a concern about the surface-to-air missiles.
Yeah, like the Grail 7 and the Grail, the shoulder-fired missiles.
And, you know, a lot of them are still out there because, you know, we issued them when the Taliban were fighting for us against the Russians. I mean, we're fighting for us, but we equipped them. The last check I had, there's probably in the neighborhood of 3,000 shoulder-fired missile systems out there that aren't accounted for, you know, between all the dogs and cats that have them. You know, getting back to Homeland, they write a policy statement and task industry, the aviation industry, to come up with a fix for every civilian airline. Well, we're not Israel, where we only have 49 or 60 airframes. We have over 20,000 flights a day, so that's a lot of systems to check.
That's a whole lot of chaff boxes to service.
Well, it sure is, and it goes beyond the chaff boxes. And all those CEOs that run those aviation companies report to stockholders, and fuel costs are up, and flying is down, and the bottom line is you're telling the wrong guys to fix this thing.
Okay, on September 11, 2001, only 3 of the 4 attacks we know about, at least in the public, were successful. Of the one that was not, it was a case of the people, you can read that in parentheses, the militia, responding to a crisis rather than the government. Can we use more of that model for Homeland Security, and if so, in your opinion, to what effect?
Well, I think we have to. One of the purposes that I have of writing that whole Rogue Warrior series is to make it a fun read, but kind of an awareness of what's going on. And where I think we're remiss in this whole dialogue of where we're going is we keep on talking about counterterrorism. Well, I don't want to counter terrorism. I don't want it to happen.
You want to kill terrorism.
Yes, and getting ahead of the power curve a little bit. But, you know, our national policy is to fight it over there, so the collateral damage is over there, and I'm all for that. I mean, I think that makes logical sense. But when you look at what we're doing with our money and how we're doing it, what really has to happen with the American people is take the neighborhood watch, cinch up our belt, and everybody has to be on alert.
Are you familiar with the Minuteman Project here in Arizona?
Yes.
Is that the type of concept you're talking about?
Well, I go beyond that. I mean, that I think is certainly it has some problems, and that personalities lead them, and you have a problem with control. But things to me that would make sense, and I've approached major academic institutions with the thought. If you go back to the second book I wrote, Red Cell, and what I do with Red Cell International, the company I have now, is it boils down to that grant money from Homeland Security is going to universities for a lot of projects. And we're talking about mega bucks. We're not talking about $1.280. We're talking about, $1 million here and $600,000 there, and they're healthy dollars. And there's no donut machine here in D.C. that's cranking them out. They're coming out of all our listeners, and in my pockets and your pockets. But if we went to these institutions, and what I propose is, give me or somebody like me a 2-hour block of instruction in every functional academic area. I'm not asking for a curriculum. I'm not asking you to buy my books. I'm not asking, but let me listen to what you say you do within that curriculum, and then let me take you across the street and let me show you how, as a terrorist, I'm going to break it. Then you go back in and write your thesis, say, now I can make a better mousetrap.
Now, you're talking about doing this with engineering schools, right? So that people...
I mean, you can do it in a lot of other schools. I mean, if I went into the media and the liberal arts side of the house, I certainly can go into in the liberal art, into the writings, into communications, into...
Well, what would you change in communications in terms, in other words, how would a person, say, in journalism be affected by terrorism as opposed to an engineer be affected insofar as you'd be teaching the engineer how the terrorist would look at something so he might build the girders to support girders in a place it was harder to bomb?
By studying what they're already doing, what they're doing with the Arab press, by using misinformation, by using the visual display of digital displays with hidden messages in it. And there's a whole series of things that are available that these young kids that grow up with a mouse on their hand, they know how to do those kind of things. So it really is an awareness and focusing on, okay, this is how I become CEO, and this is how I become a millionaire. Now, how do I protect my country and my $1 million I just made at the same token?
While your experience in counterterrorism is legendary, and indeed today you're still involved with that type of work with, like you said, Red Cell Incorporated and SOS Temps, you're not the only retired SEAL counterterrorism expert. There's a great wealth of talent and resources. I believe you might refer to it as the Frog Network, I think. Are we not ignoring a potential vital resource and not using them both strategically in counterterrorism planning, like you were just talking about, and also tactically in areas of high risk, such as port terminals, and letting retired SEALs qualify up to the U.S. Marshal Standard and then carry on an airliner and back up the people who are there, or even lead in the case where there's no one else in law enforcement there?
We've missed the bubble on that, Charles. I mean, when TSA started out and decided that they had to have their marshals cadre, and they could only be 35, and they had to wear blazers, well, they stick out like what, because they're in a uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, maybe when I was a youngster, everybody got dressed up when they traveled, but now everybody's they're in their jogging gear and their shorts, and they travel in comfort. So to have somebody that looks like they're in a uniform or they are officialdom sticks out. Where we missed is one, just here at National Airport, Reagan National Airport in D.C., the heart of government, only about 20% of our flights are covered by marshals.
Mm-hmm.
One, we've been hit. Two, there's a lot of prime targets here, so I suspect we're pretty susceptible. But when we went to going to build the marshals, I said, okay, that's what you want to do. But like you alluded to, there's a whole cadre. I mean, there's ex-cops, there's ex-military, that for 5 days I could have certified on a weapons to know what's going on, and they could be under contract for a year or so many flights per year that are already retired. You don't have to give them a benefit package. You don't,
Or even one further than that. You give them